Too many people think success only counts at the finish line. They convince themselves that joy only belongs to the person who has already won the medal, signed the deal, built the empire, or reached the dream. And because of that mindset, they rob themselves of the strength that comes from celebrating progress along the way. But let me tell you, if you wait until the very end to rejoice, you'll miss the power that comes from recognizing how far you've already come. The journey is not just about the destination, it's about the transformation that happens on the way there. Celebrating progress doesn't mean you've lowered your standards or lost sight of the ultimate goal. It means you've learned how to value growth. It means you've discovered the truth that every step forward deserves honor. Because success isn't built in one giant leap. It's built in hundreds of small victories. If you ignore those victories, you risk burning out before you even get close to the goal. Think about a long-distance runner. If they only focus on the finish line miles away, they'll collapse under the weight of how far they still have to go. But if they notice each mile marker, if they celebrate every stretch they complete, that encouragement fuels them for the miles ahead. The same is true in your life. You've got to notice the mile markers. You've got to pause and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm not where I started. That acknowledgement keeps your fire alive. Here's the danger: perfectionism. Perfectionism tells you that nothing matters until it's perfect. It convinces you that your small steps aren't worth celebrating. And because of that lie, so many people quit. They quit because they can't see progress as victory. But the truth is, progress is proof that the dream is alive. Progress is evidence that your discipline is working. Progress is the sign that you're on the right track. Don't despise it, celebrate it. Celebrating progress also trains your mind to see effort as valuable. Because sometimes the results don't come immediately. Sometimes you'll work hard and the outcome won't show up right away. If you only celebrate results, you'll lose motivation when the results are delayed. But if you celebrate progress, the fact that you showed up, that you stayed consistent, that you refused to quit, then you'll have fuel to keep going even when the harvest hasn't yet appeared. And let's not forget this: celebrating progress builds confidence. Every time you stop and recognize a win, no matter how small, you're telling yourself, I can do this. I am moving forward. I am capable. That confidence compounds over time. It makes you stronger. It makes you more resilient. It makes you believe that finishing isn't just possible, it's inevitable. This doesn't mean you settle for halfway. No, your eyes remain on the finish line. But you also train your heart to rejoice in the steps along the way. Because joy isn't only at the end, it's in the journey. And when you learn to celebrate progress, you make the journey lighter, stronger, and more sustainable. So today, instead of only asking, how far do I still have to go? Start asking, how far have I already come? Look back at the battles you've fought, the habits you've built, the distractions you've silenced, the discipline you've strengthened. That is progress worth celebrating. That is proof that you're no longer who you used to be. Because in the end, the finish line is just one moment. But progress, that's daily victory. That's growth. That's transformation. And if you celebrate it along the way, you'll not only reach your goals, you'll arrive with gratitude, joy, and strength in your spirit. Celebrate progress, because progress is success in motion. When you set out to achieve your goals alone, you're not just fighting against obstacles outside, you're also battling the noise within. And let me tell you, that noise can be louder than any enemy you face. Doubt, fear, distraction, they speak in whispers, but those whispers can paralyze your steps if you let them. That's why you must learn to silence the noise. Because the war for your goals is often not in your circumstances, it's in your mind. Doubt shows up first. It tells you that you're not capable, not qualified, not strong enough. It makes you question every step you take. And here's the thing: doubt doesn't always scream. Sometimes it speaks softly, saying, what if you fail? What if nobody supports you? What if you're wasting your time? Those little questions can plant seeds that grow into fear if you don't pull them out quickly. But you've got to answer doubt with truth. You've got to remind yourself why you started, what you've already overcome, and what you're building toward. When doubt says you can't, you silence it by taking another step that proves you can. Then comes distraction. Distraction doesn't always look like trouble. Sometimes it looks like opportunity. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it looks like friends, entertainment, or even good things that pull you away from the right thing. The danger of distraction is that it doesn't feel like distraction until it steals your time, your focus, and your momentum. And momentum is precious. You can lose weeks, months, even years if you let distraction rule your life. That's why you have to be ruthless with your focus. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone deserves your energy. When you're walking toward a goal, you must learn to say no to the noise that doesn't serve your purpose. Silencing the noise isn't about pretending it doesn't exist. It's about training your mind to rise above it. It's about guarding your thoughts the way a soldier guards a fortress. Because your mind is the battlefield, and every distraction, every doubt, every fear is trying to take ground. If you don't fight back, they'll control your choices. But when you control your mind, you control your destiny. This is why solitude can be such a gift. When you're alone, you can hear the noise more clearly and you can confront it. You can identify the lies you've been believing. You can expose the distractions that have been stealing your energy. And you can make a decision to silence them. You can replace doubt with discipline. You can replace fear with faith. You can replace distraction with focus. That shift doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen with practice. Remember this. The noise will never completely disappear. Doubt will try to creep back in. Distractions will always be waiting, but you get stronger at silencing them. Just like a musician tunes their instrument before every performance, you must tune your mind daily. Some mornings you'll wake up and the noise will be loud. But when you choose to focus, when you choose discipline, when you choose faith over fear, you'll find that the noise loses its power. And here's the powerful part. Every time you silence doubt, you grow in confidence. Every time you ignore distraction, you build momentum. Every time you take one more step, despite the noise, you strengthen your resilience. That resilience is what will carry you when the journey gets heavy. So don't let the noise talk you out of your destiny. Don't let it rob you of your time. Don't let it convince you to settle for less than what you're capable of. You can't always control the noise around you, but you can control how you respond to it. And if you keep silencing it, if you keep pushing forward despite it, you'll prove to yourself that nothing, no voice of doubt, no wave of distraction can stop you from achieving your goals. Because when the noise fades, what remains is clarity. And with clarity, you can walk alone with strength, knowing exactly where you're going and why you refuse to stop. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their goals is not because the goal is impossible, it's because they try to swallow it all at once. They look at the mountain, they look at the giant, they look at the vast distance between where they are and where they want to be. And they get overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, quitting feels easier than starting. But the truth is this: no mountain is climbed in one leap. Every great achievement is built step by step, brick by brick, day by day. That's why breaking your goal into daily steps is the difference between dreaming and doing. See, a dream by itself can feel heavy. If you keep saying, I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to build a successful business, or I want to become financially free, your brain immediately tells you that's too much, that's too far, that's impossible. But when you break it down, when you say, today I'll drink more water, today I'll make one sales call, today I'll save $10, suddenly the impossible becomes manageable. Because you don't conquer the whole journey in a single day, you conquer it in daily decisions. The problem is that too many people want instant results. They want to plant the seed today and eat the fruit tomorrow. But growth doesn't work like that. You don't build strength in one workout. You don't master a skill in one practice. You don't create wealth in one paycheck. It's the compounding of small, consistent steps that transforms your life. And the beauty of breaking your goal into daily steps is this progress becomes visible. Every day you can point to one action you took, And over time, those small actions add up to massive results. Think about the way a builder constructs a house. He doesn't try to place the roof before the foundation is laid. He doesn't stress about the paint before the walls are up. He works step by step. And when each step is complete, it becomes the platform for the next. That's how life works too. If you try to skip steps, you'll collapse. But if you embrace the process of daily progress, your foundation will hold strong when pressure comes. Now, let me be clear. Daily steps require patience. They require humility, because progress may feel slow, and the results may not show right away. That's where discipline and faith come in. You've got to trust the process. You've got to remind yourself that even if today doesn't look like victory, today still matters. Because today's step is preparing you for tomorrow's success. Here's the key. Focus less on the size of the step and more on the consistency of the step. Don't despise small beginnings. Small beginnings are proof that you've started. And starting is the hardest part. A runner doesn't begin with a marathon. They begin with a mile, then 2, then 3, until eventually they've built the stamina to go the distance. Your daily steps may look small to others, but over time they'll speak louder than their shortcuts. And here's the truth. Breaking your goal into daily steps keeps you from paralysis. When you only stare at the big picture, you freeze. But when you focus on the step in front of you, you move. And movement is everything. Even the smallest forward motion is better than standing still with a perfect plan in your head. Because momentum builds when you move, not when you wait. So, if you want to achieve your goals alone, stop waiting for the perfect day, the perfect opportunity, the perfect motivation. Start with one step today, then take another tomorrow, then another the next day. Before you know it, those steps will connect, those steps will compound, and the road behind you will prove how far you've come. And when you finally reach the goal, you'll realize it wasn't about the giant leap. It was about the daily commitment to keep stepping even when you walked alone. When people hear the word alone, many of them immediately think of weakness, emptiness, or lack. They imagine isolation as punishment. But what if I told you that solitude isn't your enemy, it's your secret weapon? What if I told you that some of the greatest breakthroughs, the clearest visions, the deepest growth all happen in the quiet, hidden seasons of life? You don't have to fear solitude. You can use it. You can turn it into strength. See, solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is when you feel empty because of the absence of people. Solitude is when you find fullness because of the presence of purpose. Solitude gives you the room to think, the space to breathe, and the clarity to hear your own voice without the static of the crowd. Too many people drown out their own vision because they're too busy chasing the noise of others. But when you're alone, you have the opportunity to filter out distractions and discover who you really are and what you really want. Think about the seed in the ground. Before it becomes a tree, before anyone sees its beauty, it has to be buried in darkness. It has to grow roots in silence. Nobody claps for the seed. Nobody notices the struggle underground. But in that solitude, it develops the strength that will one day hold up branches and fruit. The same is true for you. The world may not see you right now. You may feel buried, overlooked, unseen. But solitude is the place where your roots are growing deep. And without deep roots, you'll never stand tall when the storms come. When you're alone, you have the chance to sharpen your focus. You're not pulled in 1,000 directions by other people's opinions. You're not trying to keep up with the pace of the crowd. You're not trapped in comparison. Instead, you can sit with your thoughts, examine your priorities, and align yourself with your purpose. Solitude gives you the gift of self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of strength. Now, let's be real. Being alone can feel uncomfortable at first because silence exposes things we try to cover with noise. It reveals our fears, our insecurities, our doubts. But here's the good news. Facing those things in solitude makes you stronger. It teaches you how to wrestle with yourself, until you rise with clarity and conviction. It's in solitude that you break free from depending on others for validation. It's in solitude that you learn to encourage yourself. And when you can encourage yourself, when you can carry yourself, nobody can take that strength away from you. History has shown us again and again that solitude produces strength. Leaders, thinkers, innovators, many of them had to spend long seasons alone before they ever stepped into greatness. They weren't surrounded by applause in the beginning. They weren't carried by a crowd. They were shaped in solitude. And because they embraced that process, they emerged unshakable. So don't despise the season where you feel like you're walking by yourself. Don't think that being alone means being abandoned. It may be the very season where you're being built, where your character is being forged, where your vision is being sharpened. Solitude is the training ground of greatness. And here's the strength you gain from solitude: independence of spirit. You stop waiting on others to push you. You stop needing everyone to agree with you. You stop being paralyzed by rejection. Because when you've walked the path alone, you realize you don't need external approval to move forward. You carry your own fuel. So instead of running from solitude, lean into it. Use it to study, to practice, to prepare, to plan, to pray, to build yourself. Let solitude be the forge where you develop resilience. Let it be the classroom where you learn patience. Let it be the sanctuary where your inner strength is born. Because when solitude does its work, you won't just survive being alone. You'll rise from it stronger, clearer, and ready to conquer whatever stands before you. Most people start their journey with excitement. They're motivated. They're inspired. They've watched a video, heard a speech, read a book, and in that moment their hearts are burning with energy. But let me tell you the truth. Motivation will get you started, but it will not keep you going. Motivation is like a spark. It flares up bright, but if you don't feed it, it fizzles out. What you need isn't just a spark. You need a steady fire. And that steady fire is called discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your destiny. Discipline is what makes you show up on the days you don't feel like it. Discipline is what pushes you out of bed when your feelings are telling you to stay under the covers. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it whether I feel like it or not. That's the difference between those who finish the race and those who drop out halfway. You see, motivation is emotional. It depends on circumstances. If everything looks good, you're fired up. If you get praised, you're excited. If the road is smooth, you're ready to go. But the moment challenges rise, the moment nobody notices your effort, the moment the road gets hard, that motivation dries up. And if you're depending on motivation to carry you, you'll quit. But discipline doesn't care about feelings. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. Discipline is rooted in decision, not emotion. It's when you make a choice so firm that your feelings don't get a vote anymore. Discipline is when you tell yourself, I may not feel like doing it, but I'll still do it because my purpose demands it. Think about it like this. An athlete doesn't win a championship because they were motivated every day. They win because they trained when they were tired, they pushed when their body screamed no, they showed up on the days no one was watching. A student doesn't graduate at the top of the class because they only studied when they felt motivated. They succeed because they built a routine, stuck with it, and refused to break it. Discipline turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Let me warn you, discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't always feel good. While motivation makes you excited in the moment, discipline makes you consistent over a lifetime. Motivation whispers, do it later. Discipline declares, do it now. Motivation wants comfort. Discipline embraces sacrifice. And sacrifice, my friend, is the price tag of greatness. Now, here's where it gets real. Your goals don't care about how you feel. They don't care about your mood, your excuses, or your circumstances. If you want results, you have to show up consistently. And that's why discipline, will always outrun motivation, because motivation fades, but discipline is steady. Motivation is built on hype, but discipline is built on habits. And here's the powerful part: discipline, once it's built, creates its own motivation. The more consistent you become, the more results you see. The more results you see, the more motivated you feel. But notice the order. It's discipline first, motivation second. Too many people flip it around. They wait until they feel motivated to take action. And because they're waiting, nothing happens. But those who practice discipline understand action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation. So, if you're serious about achieving your goals alone, you must stop depending on your feelings and start depending on your decisions. Build a routine. Commit to habits that move you forward daily. Even when you're tired, even when no one claps, even when it feels like nothing is happening, keep going. Because discipline compounds. The small things you do today may not look like much, but stack them up day after day, and soon they'll turn into something unstoppable. Discipline is what transforms potential into performance. It's what separates dreamers from doers. And if you hold on to it, you'll discover that you don't need the fleeting rush of motivation. You've built something stronger, something steady, something that lasts. That's how you achieve your goals. Not by waiting for a feeling, but by choosing discipline daily, even when you walk the road alone. When it comes to achieving your goals, most people jump straight to the what. They want to know what the goal is, what the reward looks like, what the end game will be. And that sounds good on the surface. But here's the problem. If you don't have a why that fuels you, the what will wear you down. Goals without purpose are like a ship without a rudder. You may be moving, but you're not going anywhere meaningful. The reason so many people start with excitement and end with disappointment is because they never rooted their goals in purpose. They wanted the shine of success, but not the substance behind it. They wanted the applause, but not the anchor. And when life got heavy, when challenges rose up, when loneliness set in, the goal felt too far away. But let me tell you this. When your why is strong enough, it will carry you through nights of doubt, days of fatigue, and moments when giving up feels easier than going on. Your why is the fire on the inside that won't let you quit. It's the heartbeat of your mission. It's what gets you up when the alarm clock rings and your body wants to stay in bed. It's what makes you say no to distractions, no to excuses, no to shortcuts, because you're anchored to something bigger than the goal itself. Think about it. The athlete who trains before the sun comes up, the student who studies while their friends are partying, the entrepreneur who risks rejection over and over again, they don't do it because the what is easy, they do it because their why is unshakable. Their why is connected to a vision of a better future, to a family depending on them, to a calling they refuse to ignore. And your why has to be personal. You can't borrow it from somebody else. If you chase a dream just because it looks good on someone else, you'll run out of fuel fast. But when your why is rooted deep in your own heart, when it's born out of your pain, your passion, your vision, nothing and no one can take it from you. Let me tell you something powerful. The size of your what doesn't matter if the strength of your why isn't there. People can have big dreams, but without purpose, those dreams turn into burdens. That's why so many people stop halfway. They thought success was about the finish line, but success is really about knowing why you're even in the race. Now, here's the key. Your why must be greater than your excuses, because excuses will always show up. Excuses will tell you it's too hard, too late, too costly. Excuses will whisper that you're not strong enough, not smart enough, not connected enough. But when your why is powerful, it will silence those excuses. It will remind you that the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. You see, the why is what transforms your struggle into significance. When you know why you're pushing, every setback becomes a setup for growth. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every lonely night becomes a season of preparation. Your why turns obstacles into opportunities and pain into progress. So before you chase the what, before you write the plan, before you get busy with the hustle, pause and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the reason that will keep me going when everything in me wants to quit? Write it down, make it clear. Because once you discover your why, you'll realize something powerful. Your goal isn't just about achieving something, it's about becoming someone. And when that realization hits you, you won't just chase your goals, you'll pursue them with a fire that cannot be extinguished, no matter how alone the journey may feel.